And of course, we want also to look at what we have as editorial cartoons today. And this has been also aptly captured by Victor in the Star today. Everyone is too busy politicking to notice that I have been busy lately. This is all about road carnage. And looking also the front page of the Daily Nation today is Fury at Carnage, Shock, Horror and Fury. That is the online edition, which is a bit different with the hard copy that I do have as well, Fury at Carnage. That is on the front page of the Daily Nation. But back to our cartoon by Victor. Looking at that particular editorial cartoon today, very briefly, just a cursory remark on it. What would you say, Dr. Hassan?
This is a problem we've had as a country for a long time now, and it gets worse. Now, that particular location where the carnage happened, it's very notorious for this. Now, as religious as we are as a people, and at one point I think BT said Africans are notoriously religious, we cannot pray our way out of road accidents. Action has to be taken. We can't keep talking tough and hopefully think that somehow this is just going to go away. That's willful ignorance. We cannot do that. Action has to be taken. When you drive along the Nairobi, Eldoret or Nairobi Kericho Road, interestingly, there are not even enough signage about some of those areas, even with regard to speeds or bumps. Around Salga area, there are dozens of trucks just sitting by the roadside, actually, an accident waiting to happen. Something has to be done about it. And I think we are sick and tired of talking about the same problem over and over again as if nothing can be done about it when we know something can be done about it. This season, especially in December, is full of accidents. It's notorious for that. Why aren't our traffic police deployed there to actually ensure, number one, people are not speeding, number two, they are not overloading, number three, those trucks are actually even not sitting idle on the road? So it's not that nothing can be done about it, and we cannot, let's stop pretending prayers do not solve some of these practical problems that actually common sense can solve. So please, let's pray less and at least apply a little bit more common sense, and then we're going to solve some of these issues we're facing right now, especially with regard to road carnage. A lot of people are losing their lives, very productive members of this society. We cannot stay on this trajectory. It's too dangerous.
All right, so you think we should wish away a prayer, Professor Wajokoya? Prayer has its place.
Prayers have their place to those who worship the Lord in a proper spiritual manner. I do worship the Lord. But there are so many mediocre pastors in this world who will put a lot of saliva on your head and ask you for money. Ask you for money and tell you that, oh, you can do this to go to heaven. And if you get a man of God who says that the Lord has spoken to me, if I'm in that church, I will not go in that church alone. Because we have had a lot of prophets of doom, we have had a lot of hustlers who become pastors, and I've seen this happen in the UK, where thieves who ran away from here went and sought political asylum. All of a sudden you find him to be a very nasty pastor. And let's separate some of these idiots from the church. So when it comes to prayer,
yes,
prayer is key. If you pray to your God through your body and do exactly what you profess to be done, just like what Jesus did, that's fine. But you cannot look at the problem and tell people, let us go and pray. Why can't you just go there yourself and pray in silence and pray for these people? So I'll agree with him that prayers are good, but they have also overreached their meaningfulness when it comes to the citing of prayers. Let me pray so that the devil can see me praying to be holier than thou. Let us apportion this blame to the county government. The county government of Nakuru. What has it done, knowing very well that this area is within their confinements? The right to life is sanctified by the Constitution, and the right to life is also devoluted through devolution to the county government. The county government ought to allocate money, ought to do a mapping survey, ought to know the blind spots, and ought to take measures to prevent.
All right, but of course we understand also the government is looking keenly on this because they've realized, yes, it's a black spot, and they want to try and maybe reconstruct the road again so that, yes, we can actually avoid all these accidents that happened. Yeah.
If you go in that place, about 200 or 260 or 130 people that were buried in a mass grave. on the left side when you're going towards Nakuru. How many years was that? Or when did that happen, that the government is still preaching holier than thou, telling people to drink wine? They ought to have acted that particular time to raise barriers, to look into the future possibilities of averting situations, to actually do what we call mapping, like what happens in the European roads, where we have cameras everywhere.
Thank you.
Where we have the police to man and also report. We should have a special police station in the area.
Maybe the spiritual leaders in their own wisdom, they've seen
well,
that...
they can do what they can.
Just a moment. They've seen this is what they call a sacrificial black spot, especially when it comes to December as well. And maybe they've taken that initiative to try and curb what is happening at Sachangwan, because they will come and say, the church maybe is playing its part, you know.
They'll build a church there and preach.
Just a moment. Drivers. Yeah, because we all know about what they call the territorial spirits, that yes, sometimes they do happen, that particular zone has been known, and so there's a mindset that this is a black spot, and people are bound to actually die. So maybe they should cast that particular spell away. So do we now also shunt away the place of a church? It is just, I think 2 weeks ago when we had the clergy and the laity actually going to Sachangwan to pray, isn't it? So do we now just slant their efforts or just shove it aside and say we don't need the place of prayer?
I'm not saying, I didn't say it holistically. I meant there are some pastors who spit on people's heads. I'm not talking of those who spit on your head and ask you for money. I'm talking of those who have a calling from God.
Thank you. But it would be unfair now to actually just put a blanket statement as such. People will get the perception that this particular pastors also are one of those pastors. Maybe they had a very good salutary effort to come and offer a prayer service along Sachangwan to cleanse the place.
Dibal, I think it will be a mockery of God if people just go there to pray and not do what they are supposed to do to make sure that we prevent those accidents. And this is what we have seen, that we have a small problem. Even in Bungoma, I think we're talking about witchcraft. Yes. It's not witchcraft. I mean, it's carelessness. And are you not surprised that the head of traffic department is still in office and 80 people have died in the last 1 week? That whoever is heading the NTSA is still in office and 80 people have been killed in accidents that could otherwise be preventable. Dibal, corruption is the cause of this. And I can assure you today, drive from here after this program ends to Naivasha and back, you're going to be asked for bribes not less than 5 times on the road.
On the road.
Yeah.
Maybe it's another issue that we need to talk about, because all these sports checks that we do have on the road, we know they're supposed to be gazetted, isn't it? That is according to, you know, the rule of law. But we have, you can find there's so many hotspots, and I think this is a discussion that we're having somewhere else. And people are saying, yes, we can have even 16 police sports check, which are not really gazetted. And people are none the wiser as far as maybe the law is concerned. First of all, are they really gaming the system to collect money? So they're not doing a thorough job, because this particular tractor or the trailer that the truck we're talking about had failed brakes. When it comes also to inspection of vehicles as well,
somehow
are we really up to scratch?
Somehow I watched that clip. I rarely watch this kind of things, but somehow I watched that clip and I saw this guy of NTSA actually trying to blame Kenyans not to speculate. 2 things, Diban. Some of us come from Kitale, so we've been driving or being carried on that road for the last 30 years. And we've seen Sachangwan with the one shop. Initially there was nothing. Those who have traveled that road, they know. We've seen Sachangwan grow from, I think, one shop to now a town. Good governments do this. The problem with Sachangwan is topography. You cannot remove the hills, you cannot remove the gradient, but you can change the route. The government has the powers under forceful acquisition, under the new laws, Land Amendment Act, I think 2016, where the government can acquire land away from that road and divert that road to connect to Nakuru through somewhere else. Dibal, that can be done. Because for as long as we have that topography in Sachangwan, I cannot see any other means, any other way you can change the idea of accidents at Sachangwan because of the land gradient. When you are coming from Nakuru, you are going down. When you are coming from up, you are going down. So how do you avoid? It's not about bumps. Because, for example, if the trailer has lost brakes, the bumps will not assist it. So the best thing, and I've seen this in many countries in Europe, they divert the road. The government will spend more money to get another way to Nakuru, but they'll move away from Sachangwan. That is one. Number two, I think NTSA and all of us now know, we are being told everywhere. I live somewhere, I don't want to mention where I live, and at midnight on Fridays, I hear people crying and making noise every day because they're being stopped by NTSA, whose work is now like the police. They tow vehicles so that these guys of towing are paid money. Kenyans will attest to this. So are we heading to the right direction, or NTSA has also become a problem? So if, like my friend Dr. Mustafa said, it's about corruption, what do we do? Let's deal with the physical aspect of this problem. Divert the road, and the government has the means to do that. It's not about putting dual the way I had them saying. The gradient will remain the same, the topography will remain the same, so move it from that kind of topography and take it somewhere else and take that road to Nakuru. To me, that it will take time, but that will be the only way to solve that problem. If it is something to do with the prayers the way you are saying, then we shall have moved away from Sachangwan, so prayers will not be needed. We take the road through somewhere else, but you get to Nakuru.
All right.
Yes.
So do we summarize on that, unless maybe you want to add something on it? I think you've exhausted. But there is an interesting editorial cartoon as well in the People Daily today, Kitu Kidogo. And the 50 shilling menace now is what is making all these traffic policemen look away, and some of his vehicles, they just tend to, pass through those spot checks without being investigated. First of all, we need to realize about the gazettement. So we should overemphasize, because we have also so many police spot checks along the way.
I think to add to what my colleagues have said, let the Kenyans themselves take the rule, the law in their hands. You find that Kenyans are very cheeky, and this culture which had been removed by Michuki has come back. Why can't a patriotic Kenyan say, you're driving dangerously, can you stop? You are making a mistake of bribing this policeman. Can we arrest? Can we have some kind of decorance in this? It's actually our moral responsibility to take this into our hands so that we don't blame institutions. We are the ones contributing to the institutions. Why, like me, for sure, having been a police officer for 12 years, if I sit in a matatu and I see somebody attempting to bribe a police officer, I will stop and I will yell. And I will yell very hard. And if possible, I will take a photo with my camera, my phone, and report the issue. So the issue should actually be taken back to we to take that responsibility.